have a little technical problem there with my camera, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So if you remember yesterday, if you were listening, I don't even know if there's anybody here right now, which I don't think there is. Otherwise, I think I would know. Yep, zero viewers, which is totally fine with me. So what we're talking about is what I'm working on right now. So on the SalesQualia website, I've got the link right now. And I wanted to talk through a couple things that I'm working on today that I think might be useful. So one of the things I do, I didn't mention this yesterday, one of the things I do every day is what's called morning pages. And I got this idea in reading a book by Julia Cameron. And I thought it'd be interesting maybe just to kind of share a little bit of this practice. So basically what I do when I get up in the morning, first thing is just get scrap pieces of paper and I write out 3 pages of, well, actually this is 2 of the pages, but I've got a 3rd page where I just write out what's on my mind. So a lot of times it's stuff I'm thinking. Recently it's been a lot about work, trying to figure out what's going on inside my head, what might be a mental block, what's bringing me down, what's lifting me up, and basically just kind of like onto the page so that I can kind of sort out my thinking before I get the day going. So I do that every morning. I've been doing that every morning for the last 2 years, pretty much every morning, probably 90% of the time, if not more. Almost every single morning I've been doing this now for 2 years. And it's been really useful to kind of organize my thinking for each and every day, kind of prioritize what I need to be working on, what's going to happen throughout the course of the day. A lot of times I'll do my planning, figuring out like, hey, when am I going to get a run in or a bike in, or when am I going to have a gap? What can I cancel? You know, if it's a meeting that may not be necessary, what can I skip? How am I going to fit in time? Doing all the things that I want to do. So those are my morning pages. The other thing I do every morning is meditate. So I've been doing that for about a year now and started back in early January of this year. And again, do that roughly 90% of the time, if not more. And so different ideas around that. So one of them is to, I do both on my own, where I'll just kind of sit quietly, you know, hands on my, hard to show it while I'm standing, sitting on the floor, legs crossed, sitting up straight, just breathing, trying to focus on my breathing and trying to clear out my mind. And the other type of meditation I do are guided meditations. Usually I do that if I'm on the train. So a lot of times I get up early if I have to go to San Francisco. And so rather than getting up super early to meditate first, I'll do it on the train and I'll put headphones on and just do it while I'm sitting there on the train. So that's something I do pretty much every day. A couple things that I thought from a business standpoint that might be interesting. So got up out of the house pretty early today. So last night I was up late working on grading final exams. So I am a professor, an adjunct professor at the Holt International Business School in San Francisco. And as part of their master's in international marketing program, I teach a couple classes there. Just finished a new product development class. This module and next module I'll be teaching sales management. And this module finished up and I had a bunch of final exams to grade, final presentations. So I've been putting that off for about a week. Their grades are due today. So I was up pretty late and I wanted to get out early just so I could focus on what I needed to do. So my big thing this morning, I had a nice big block of time where I didn't have any appointments or meetings. And so what I wanted to focus on was writing a Quora post. So Quora has been good to me from a marketing standpoint, and I haven't been spending as much time on Quora as I should lately. So fortunately, I've had a couple people send me some ask to answer. So what that means on Quora is that if people have a question and they feel like they want you personally to answer it, they'll just send you that request and say, hey, you know, would you mind answering this question? So I got a question yesterday from a guy in Chicago on what are the 3 things that you would change about your sales process, which is like perfect timing in that I wanted to write a Quora answer. I didn't want to go digging around for one, and this one was right up my alley. So I had a good time doing that. What I wanted to share is how I go about doing my writing. So once I get that question, or once I start thinking about a topic to write on, the first thing I'll do is actually just get a blank sheet of paper like this, and I'll just start scribbling notes. So even though my handwriting is mostly illegible, even to myself, just the getting away from the computer to do any creative thinking is a big part of keeping me focused. And the other thing I do, you can see I'm just like jotting ideas in a pretty somewhat organized way. I've got numbered lists, but I can just kind of keep adding on. And I'm not too worried about editing and typing and typos and those kinds of things. I'm just getting my ideas organized on a piece of paper. And then from there, I translate that into Evernote. do my rough draft in Evernote, get it pretty polished up, then I copy and paste it into Quora. And then once it's in Quora, I'll do one more edit, read it aloud so that it makes sense to me as I'm reading it out loud so that I don't miss any typos or grammatical errors. Usually throw in a couple of images to help illustrate some of the points that I want to make. And then I'm publishing. So that's kind of my process for writing up a Quora post or a blog post. I had a lot of time this morning to focus on this. So it was great to first do that content. Secondly, I turned some of that content into a video post, which I posted to the SalesQualia blog, which is fun to do, getting better and better at doing that. That's going to also be a big push for me next year from a marketing standpoint, is doing more video, short snippets, 2, 3, 4 minute videos with just a quick sales tip or a sales lesson learned, those sorts of things. And then taking all that content and trying to push it out to Facebook and Twitter and all these other places. So still kind of a manual process to do some of that and learning how to be more efficient, but that's okay because I'm learning just like a lot of you are. So that was my morning. And then later on today, or late morning, I had a client call, which I just got off of, which is why I was a little bit late here. Doing this live stream now. And then I've got, as part of my startup selling program, we do a sales acceleration call a couple times a week where all of the members of the program can come onto the call, ask questions, and I'm just helping them with their tactical questions on their sales process. After that, I'm launching a book project, which is pretty exciting. I'm going to publish my 3rd book next year, and we'll get that writing process started. Then finish the day with the strategy email. And then tonight is it's actually our first SalesQualia Christmas party. Even though the company's been around for a while, we've never actually had a Christmas party. So going out tonight with Robert and his wife, with my wife, and bringing our son along. So very quaint dinner. Be lots of fun. It'll be good to do it. And so that's what I'm working on today. So whew, big breather. So one other thing I wanted to mention, I forgot to mention, when I'm doing my morning pages of late, so I mentioned I've got these pages that I'm like writing out my thoughts. What I've been finding is that lately, as I'm writing out my thoughts, I have ideas specifically for the business, and I don't want those to get lost in these morning pages because all I do with these is I just put them in a cabinet. I just file them, and I got stacks of these papers, and I've written them in journals too. I've got a bunch of these journals. I've got a bunch of these papers just sitting there, and I never go back and look at them. I don't even know why I keep them. I guess I'm figuring at some point they'll be valuable to me. And so that I don't lose the business ideas, I have a separate scratch piece of paper that I keep off to the side. So while I'm sitting there writing, I've got this blank sheet, which is kind of like my whiteboard on the kitchen table, and I'm just scratching out ideas. So a couple of the ideas were things about calling back people that were interested in the program that haven't gotten back to me, setting up a coaching call, figuring out ways to get my startup selling members more engaged with Facebook and some of the content that I'm developing, updating the metrics dashboard, just like all kinds of like brain dump stuff. So that's today. That's how I work. This is me right now. If you're watching this at some point in the future, maybe you got something out of the time today. And I don't think anybody's watching it right now. I'll check one more time just to be sure. Nope, still 0 viewers except for me. Oh well, you're lost. So if you are actually watching this and you reached this far in the video, thanks for watching this far. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. So again, Scott Sambucci here, and that's my live stream and what I'm doing right now today. See ya.